Hello there, and welcome to the Disgustingly Healthy Relationship Podcast. I'm Lewis.
And I'm Sarah.
And we are your hosts.
Beautiful people, it's 2024. We are no longer settling for mediocre, toxic, and shitty relationships.
Instead, we are choosing healthy, secure, and conscious love.
Lewis and I are here to challenge and expand you on all fronts when it comes to healthy relationships.
So, if you're ready for unfiltered conversations
and massive impact,
then let's play. Hello and welcome back to the show.
Is that a new bit on the end?
Yeah.
Is someone gonna listen to that and be like, no, this is not the podcast?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Okay.
That's fine.
Yeah, I guess if they can't accept our weirdness, then yeah, you're right. This podcast isn't for you.
No, that's fine. I mean, we are more than okay with that.
See ya. No, please come back.
Bye.
Jokes.
Anyway.
Only aligned people allowed. No.
Anyway, back to the show. How are we? We've had a really interesting week, haven't we?
Did you just answer your own question?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We've had an interesting week.
Yeah, I think we've had a good week, hey?
Yeah.
Anyway, so our topic of conversation today is all surrounded by accepting influence from your partner.
Surrounded by?
What?
What do you mean?
Surrounded by it? I mean, like... Wait, what did I just say?
You said it's all surrounded by accepting influence.
Oh, well, I mean, our episode is all about
accepting influence, yeah.
Okay, thank you for getting the terminology and focusing on grammar with me. Thanks, Mom.
That's not a mum thing. I just care about you and your grammar. And
thanks.
And your, yeah.
What we're doing then?
He's got his arms folded now.
Raw.
And he goes back up. His little heckles are up. Well, heckles, whatever it's called, like a dog gets. It's like...
First.
Yeah, the episode is about accepting influence. And the reason that we wanted to talk about this topic is because, well, what research shows is that more so husbands or boyfriends, so in particular males, that accept influence and that are emotionally intelligent in relationships are likely to have longer relationships. So effectively, like the emotional intelligence of a man is actually what is mostly key to a long-lasting relationship and marriage. Interesting.
It is very interesting.
We'll dive into that a little bit more in detail.
Yeah, we will. Also, just a caveat to that, we've also been doing some couples therapy training through the Gottman Institute. So everything that we're saying and learning, we want to try and relate back to you guys in the simplest sort of way. And we're really enjoying it so far.
So it's like evidence-based training, real life experience combined. Bam, there you go.
Yeah, literally. Dr. John and Julie Gottman, shout out. You guys are great, and I love your stuff. So yeah. Yeah,
they've been researching relationships for like 4 decades, so almost 40 years.
Yeah.
And obviously that makes their research very credible. And I think we've talked about them before because we use a lot of like their theory in their research, but they're now able to, with I think it's like 90% accuracy, forgive me if the numbers like not exact, but it's like high 80-90% accuracy, determine whether your relationship will last and for like how long, based on watching like an interaction between you and your partner for like say a 20-minute disagreement. In that 20 minutes they can determine whether your relationship will last or not.
Yeah, I think
that's how accurate like their research has got everything down to.
I think the stat is 90% likely to end in divorce.
Yeah,
I think it's among married couples, as far as I remember.
I don't know the specifics on marriage or in a relationship, but yeah, I know it's like high 80-90% is not going to last.
Yes. And following on from that, with accepting influence in your partner's, accepting influence.
What does it even mean?
From your partner. So it pretty much means you're both trying to figure out a way to say yes. More.
Yeah, to say yes more.
Yeah, to say yes more. Whether that be in a conflict, a disagreement, or not even that, with everyday decisions, even if you feel like you should push back and you could challenge it, you're more than likely going to end in a yes or a no, right? But we want to try and accumulate all of those yeses.
Which is hard for people, isn't it? Because like a lot of the time in a disagreement, or on a topic that people feel strongly about, it's hard to back down, and you want to like fight your corner. You want to defend your point of view. So like it is actually really hard for people to be like, okay, well, I'll just say yes then. Or like, yeah, okay, I'll just accept their influence and go with what they think, or explore their avenue and angle rather than my own. Like that's hard. Like let's acknowledge that.
Yeah. Let's agree to disagree. I hate that phrase, just an FYI.
Yeah, I don't think
But
we use that, do we?
no, we've never once used that. I think we've always came to a solution. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of that phrase. And if
Right.
you've used that phrase, then
Why don't you like it?
because you're pretty much putting your, how do I put this? You're not valuing your own like opinion or valuing your own thoughts or anything like that. You're accepting of other people. So you're saying, I agree to disagree just to keep the peace. It's a people pleasing tendency, I guess. It can be related to a people pleasing tendency.
I perceive it differently.
Oh, interesting.
I perceive it more as like you can't come to a conclusion. You will not, neither of you will accept influence.
Yeah.
And so you just decide to not proceed in any way, shape, or form, or like not to agree together. So it's not like because you are trying to please the other person, it's actually because you don't want to, and you're too stubborn or fixated on your idea or your way. So you're like, well, we're gonna have to both agree to not agree on this topic.
And then just move on,
Yeah.
I guess. Interesting.
Yeah. So I feel like what you resist persists, though. That's a Carl Jung saying. So like
you said that last week.
Did I? Shout out to Carl Jung.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you are just gonna brush things under the rug or brush things under the carpet, basically they're not gonna sit under there for too long. No. Eventually you're gonna have to lift up the rug and see the huge mound of shit that you've piled under there.
No.
And that's stinky and messy, and nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that poopy mess.
Anyway. Speaking of poopy messes.
Excuse me?
Nothing, Karen.
Whoa. Anyway, so following on from that, we discovered that doctors Gottman and Jacobson showed that men who accept influence from their female partners tend to have happier and more satisfying relationships. I almost said satisfying.
New word.
I almost said it again. Satisfying relationships. Paradoxically, what the research also shows or showed was that the more influence a partner was willing to accept, the more influential that partner was in the relationship overall.
That is very paradoxical.
It is.
So effectively, it's like saying to a guy, be more influenced by your partner and you'll have more power anyway.
Yeah.
I don't think I like that though, because actually it's almost like a way that a man could manipulate their partner then, isn't it? Like if they know that information and they have the tendency to like be manipulative or controlling, like say in a domestic violence relationship.
Yeah.
Could they then be like, okay, I'm just going to accept more influence, knowing then that it's going to turn back around and like actually mean that they have more influence? Do you know what I mean?
I understand what you're
I'm just using a DV lens on that like situation. I'm like, oh, I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah. No,
DV means domestic violence, in case you're wondering.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I know exactly where you're coming from with that. That statement. However, I think as a guy to try and accept, I think we spoke about this just beforehand. I think as a guy trying to accept influence from their partner, if they have been quite stubborn, like as a man, if they've been quite stubborn and not willing to listen or even take any advice from anyone, let alone their partner, then I think they're going to fall short no matter what they do. So it's having the emotional stability and awareness really to be able to lean and figure out a way how they can say yes in those moments whenever their partner is offering influence. Influence could look like a suggestion on the same topic, but yeah.
Yeah, I guess like what we're talking to is healthy, or people that are like in non-abusive relationships.
Yeah.
So yeah, my worry, I guess, doesn't really apply, because our listeners, if you're in a domestic violence relationship, these rules, these concepts, these ideas do not apply. That is like a contraindication to any of this. And yeah, please seek support. We'll put a link in the
show notes.
I was like, what's the word? The bio, the show notes. Yeah, for anyone that would be interested in seeking support
Mhm.
with navigating domestic violence relationships.
Yeah.
But yeah, I find that so interesting. Like that a man will paradoxically, or which basically means like, in essence, a man will eventually end up with more influence in the relationship if he accepts more influence. That's what the research shows. Yeah, interesting. Like the research also shows as well that women are naturally more likely to accept men's influence. So that's why they kind of focus on the fact that it needs to be men that accept it, because women naturally do that more anyway. And it was really interesting when I was reading about it, because it was talking about how like men find it hard to accept influence because they are hardwired and like in society conditioned to, it's like socially conditioned to seek power and control. And they were talking in like one of the papers that I read that they were talking about in one of the papers that I read that even like in childhood, this begins where like say games that maybe boys would be more likely to play, like sports, don't necessarily involve emotional intelligence, like sports games, you know, they gave the example in one of the papers, like when a guy or when like one of the football players say falls down, they just get taken off the pitch. There's no like emotional nurturing or care. It's kind of like yeet, like take them off, and then the game carries on. Whereas the games that girls generally tend to play when they're younger involve like families and playing house, and they involve like navigating relationships and like working emotion, like building emotional intelligence. So it makes complete sense that like the focus from their research is indicating that like men need to be more like emotionally intelligent and accept more influence, because women naturally do it anyway, just because of that's how in society we're raised, I guess, which I found so interesting. So yeah, like women are more likely to accept a man's influence, but the data does suggest that men don't really return the favor. And it said in heterosexual relationships, this is the statistic that really made us want to talk about this topic, actually. We were listening to, I think it was the audiobook.
Yeah, Fight Right.
Fight Right. So in heterosexual relationships, or like if a heterosexual man in a relationship doesn't accept their partner's influence, there is an 81% chance that the marriage will self-implode.
Which is wild.
So like, what the actual?
It's absolutely. So men, come on, let's up
If you actually care about your relationship,
up the emotional intelligence radar and just up the fucking game, really.
Yeah, like if you actually care about your relationship, you will say yes more. Like it's as simple as that. This isn't like a personal opinion. Like it's 40 years or 4 decades of research.
Yeah.
I've concluded that your relationship is 81% likely to fail. If the male partner can't accept influence. I'm like,
yeah. How stubborn would you have to be though?
Oh, no, I think it can be easily done, like really easily done. Like it's not a problem for you at all. So I guess you're speaking from a place of like privilege in that respect. Right. But say, you know, a guy has seen his dad be extremely controlling and that's all he knows. Like you monkey see, monkey do. Like he just thinks that's the norm. Yeah. So I guess until someone listens to a podcast and like challenges it and they realize, oh shit, I should be doing more of that. People don't really think about it. They just do what they saw. Yeah. So it can be from a place of complete unconscious ignorance, you know?
It also has to come from a place of want of change.
Yeah. And usually that comes from a place of like people having got to rock bottom or had many failed relationships before they realize, oh shit, maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I need to make a change.
Yeah, literally, like you are the only common denominator in all of your relationships.
In all your failed relationships, yeah.
So, yeah.
But yeah, I like the idea that like if you feel like you're winning, then you're both losing. Because ultimately, like in a realistic sense, it's about both partners accepting influence. Yes, women naturally do it more. Doesn't mean that now you know this information and that men need to accept more influence, that you can take your foot off the gas. Like it's not how it works. The argument is that men need to more because, yeah, as we said, women do it naturally. But yeah, if either of you feel like you're winning, then the whole relationship's losing, essentially. So that's why it's essentially critical that you both learn to accept your partner's influence. Yeah, interesting topic. How do you think it plays out for us?
I think I take more influence from you than you do from me.
Okay. I don't disagree.
I think because I think we've both been going through a bit of a shift. And well, I know I'm speaking for myself as well here.
In what respect?
Like in terms of polarity when it comes to masculine and feminine energies, I know that you have been so used to a hyper independent woman not fending for yourself. It makes you
Well, I
sound
have
like,
been fending for myself the
well,
last
yeah.
8 years before I met
So
you,
like
or 7 years.
fending for yourself, and you do things a particular way and you like them like that, and that's absolutely fine. And I accept you for who you are and everything. And offering up suggestions, I always get, not always, sorry, I shouldn't even use that
Oh,
word,
we don't use the
but
words always and
yeah,
never.
I don't always, but I quite often get shot down with any suggestions that I make. So I just say, okay,
That
cool.
sounds really,
It
let's
sounds
go
bad. It
there.
sounds bad, but
Shut
it's not.
down, oh dear. We
But
need to
yeah,
unpack this.
um,
That's how it feels. That's how it feels.
yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you.
Oh shit, so you think I shoot down your ideas?
Sometimes, yeah,
Oh no.
but that's okay because
What's that?
most of the time you're right.
Oh, that's not about that though, is it? It's not about winning, remember? It's about both
No,
partners
but
accepting influence.
what I'm saying is most of the time you're right, and I'm acting out of impulse instead of logic.
Yeah, we talked about this before actually,
Yeah.
didn't we?
So like I've got quite a reactive emotional trigger where I act out of complete emotion on I don't know, it could be anything. I'm speaking this barely really happens when I'm acting out, but
Acting out.
yeah, it
Like,
just
let's
sounds
give an
like one.
example. So
Okay, yeah.
you're impulsive. Let's talk about Bali.
Yeah, okay. So when we were in Bali, the only like I knew for a fact logic in my head says you shouldn't go back to the UK, but all I wanted to do was go back to the UK and be with my family.
Mhm.
And that for me was acting out of emotion. However, I knew before we even spoke about it that the logical reason, sorry, the logical way to do things was to stay in Bali. And yeah, it was challenging, but like that was the right thing to do.
So for people that didn't listen to our last couple of episodes, Lewis and I were stuck in Bali waiting for our visa.
Come through.
And we had to make a choice on whether we went back to the UK and worked for a bit because we couldn't stay in Bali forever because you're on visas there as well. So we either gonna have to go back to the UK for a little bit to work and to just be able to stay basically.
Yeah.
Or whether we were just gonna like leave Bali and come back to get another visa and entry. Like, so yeah, long story short, like Lewis, when he feels like a strong emotion, he will like make an impulsive decision based on that.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, I have, initial strong emotions, but I'm able to, I think maybe more quickly like compartmentalize the emotion and think with logic and reason. So maybe, yeah, that's probably why we tend to lean more towards my decision making. Because like I'll always have a reason. Like, if you say like, different topic now, but like you'll say, like, why do you do that? Or why does it have to be this way?
Yeah.
And I'll always say, this is my weird reason why in my head. Like,
Yeah.
it probably won't make sense to you. And if you don't want to do it, that's okay. Or like the toilet paper.
Yeah.
So we have like different colored toilet paper rolls, like they're individually wrapped. And our bathroom interior is lilac and sage.
Yeah.
And there's some toilet papers that are purple. So I'm like, look, this is definitely a me thing, but can we keep all the purple ones and not use them so that we can put them on the top of the toilet paper stack in the bathroom so they go with the interior so they look nice? And I was like, if you don't want to, it's okay. It's definitely a me thing and it's just something that I do this extra, but if you don't want it, that's fine. And you were like,
go look in the toilet.
I saw it this morning. I thought, oh, all the purples are on the top. But, I acknowledge that it's something that you definitely didn't have to do. But also, it kind of makes sense. You like interior design. You can appreciate that it looks good when there's purple on the top. You don't think so?
It looks okay. I mean, it's toilet roll.
Yeah, but it's purple and the bathroom's purple.
It's all right, yeah.
Like,
it's one of those things where I don't care about it.
Oh,
right? I don't like.
It's coming from an interior stylist. I don't
think about it that much.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, we need to swap jobs.
No, I like my job.
I thought attention to detail would be everything in that respect. Color.
In everybody else's home, yeah. Like in my home, it's nice and I like it, but I'd like to not bring my work home with me.
Okay, well then we're never speaking about our relationships ever again.
Oh.
Like if that rule applies.
Anyway,
Cancel any emotional support. Cancel. No, I don't know. I'm
anyway,
paying to
so
protect.
that's sort of what I think. What do you think? How do you think influence plays out in our relationship? Because we've had my side.
Well, I just kind of added to it there, didn't I?
Mm,
You definitely compromise more, but again, like I always have like an argument or like a debate in my not an argument, like a reason in my head for why I think something should be a certain way.
mm,
And then you rarely counteract that. So like things would probably be, I'm not saying that's a bad thing at all.
mm.
Things would probably be more up for discussion if you were like, oh yeah, but what about this? But like normally when I've given my reason or like my logic behind something, you kind of tend to be like, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
I just accept it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm not saying that it doesn't make sense or that you should argue back.
Yeah.
If but like not argue back, but suggest like make your own kind of suggestions.
Mm,
But I think that's just generally why
yeah.
it seems like you compromise more.
Maybe. Yeah. I
Also,
th
probably okay.
I think that just on the whole like acceptance thing, it's not like I am just accepting just to get along. I'm accepting because you've clearly had a lot of time to think about it, and it
Yeah,
means that much to you. Then I'm okay with it.
yeah.
You know. Whereas, yeah, yeah.
It's funny, like I'm conscious of it now, so I'm like trying more to
Mm,
accept your influence, which is great. That's the whole purpose of like learning about healthy
yeah.
relationships and like people that listen to this now, even if it's just planted a tiny seed of like, where can I say yes more? Like, for example, yesterday when we were coming back from camping
Hmm.
and we're getting rid of our storage unit. So we were going to potentially put all our camping stuff back in the storage unit.
Yeah.
But we're going to be getting rid of it in like the next 3 weeks. So you suggested, why don't we just put it all in the
In
car
the car
park?
park, yeah.
Like all our camp stuff in the car park to save you putting it in the lockup and then having to take it back to the car park for a few weeks.
Yeah.
In my head, I first thought, oh, nah, because that's like we're paying for the storage unit, we may as well use it.
Mm,
And then I thought, oh, well, you've obviously got some valid reason in your mind as to why that's a better thing to do. So I was like, yeah, okay. And I disagreed, even though I wanted to be like, no, like I kind of wanted to be like, oh, and like
no, put it
unchallenge
back in
it.
because you've got 3 weeks, yeah.
Yeah. And then I thought, oh, like, no, it's fine. This is definitely something that you can just accept influence on. So I was just like, yeah, okay. Whatever you think.
Do you want to know my reason why?
What?
Why we put stuff down there on Saturday and Sunday even?
Just so you don't have to move it all by yourself.
Pretty
Or
much that, and to save like multiple trips going back and
yeah.
forth to the storage unit.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah.
But I didn't need to know. I just thought
No.
I'll just trust that you've figured that out and whatever. It's not a big deal.
Mhm. Well, I've noticed you trying, so thank you. I
Mm.
appreciate it.
You're welcome. I
Yeah.
think that's pretty much it on the topic.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
know
like
what
trying to think of any other bits that we read or
we pretty much just stopped and stared and looked at each other there with a smirk little grin, been like, okay.
so anyway.
Anyway, we love all the pauses. We never edit any of the content out. We leave it in because
It's the real relationship.
yeah, and we're just authentic as fuck. So
Oh my God.
oh my God, yeah.
Also shout out to our listeners in what were our countries?
Oh my God, we had some crazy countries like Mali,
Where?
Malawi. Sorry, not Mali.
Sound like you said Molly in a really American accent. Molly, hey Molly.
Mali, Malawi.
I thought you might remember some of the weird
We
places.
did have
Okay,
some,
not weird, that's fair. Sorry if you're
we
listening,
did,
but like
we did have
just
some crazy
places that are not Australia
which is
or
really interesting.
yeah. But yeah, I just wanted to give a little shout out to them. But never mind, all we can remember
honestly,
is
yeah.
Malawi that we didn't even say right. We called it Molly.
Mali, Malawi.
Malawi. Molly.
But yeah, we have got listeners all over the globe now. So how crazy is that?
Yeah, we had some. What were the main ones? It was UK,
Main ones are
Australia,
Australia,
US,
yeah.
Canada.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, see Luke Malawi. Crazy.
Oh, so he's looking on the screen now in case you're wondering what he's
I've got
doing.
it.
Norway, Sweden, Germany,
Yeah.
Sri Lanka.
Cape Verde.
What language do they speak?
Cabo Verde.
Like, I'm
Right.
impressed that they're listening in these countries.
Philippines,
Switzerland.
Oman, Zambia.
Like, so
Amazing.
interesting.
Honestly,
Yeah.
shout out to everybody listening overseas and everybody listening in
Yeah,
general,
and people
really.
that write in as well.
Yeah, we
Was
really
it Randy we had the other day?
Yeah, so we had an email from a lovely gentleman called Randy
Shout out to
who
Randy.
started who's in a relationship by what is sounds like it's super fresh and he's willing to learn and put in the effort, which I think is really refreshing coming from a guy.
Yeah. And they were both on their substance recovery journey as well.
For sure.
And then like now seeking further support on how to enhance the relationship.
Yeah, and I think that's absolutely amazing. It takes a lot of courage as well. So
yeah, it's hard to have a healthy relationship when you're using substances.
Or have had used them.
Yeah, substances take priority over everything. So it's really awesome that they're now like, how do we fix this relationship side of our life now that we don't have substances in our life anymore? So
yeah, that's part of the reason why we want to do this podcast and try and reach and help people.
He was in the US, I think.
Yeah, he was from the US.
Shout out to Randy. It's a very American name, Randy. I love that.
Anyway,
tip of the week.
Tip of the week.
I'll read it this week, shall I?
Absolutely, go for it.
Well, read it as in like talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's basically like on the topic of why did you just wipe your nose on my knee?
Don't know, I'm weird.
Ew. I feel like it was wet.
No.
Is it wet?
No, it's not.
Okay. Don't do that. Don't interrupt my tip of the week.
Sorry.
Yeah, so it's essentially on the topic that we just talked about, so accepting influence, and it's more specifically about looking for ways to say yes. So essentially, even if that is a simple acknowledgement such as I see your point, you're allowing them to influence your point of view at the very least. It doesn't actually always mean completely changing your mind or completely only ever going with what your partner says. It actually can be just accepting influence on your point of view or on an idea. So actually, in that respect, I accept influence a lot. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I get that completely. Look at me trying to be like, I do accept influence. Scraping the barrel here, guys. No idea. But yeah, so like just to start trying to consider how they can influence your point of view, even if you can't allow them to influence big decisions in your life. See how you can say yes or allow them to influence your point of view. And yeah, like I acknowledged earlier in the podcast, this can be a huge challenge for people. So if you want to start small, that makes complete sense. But ultimately it comes down to the question that I mentioned earlier, which is, do you actually want to be right or do you want to stay together?
That's such a good one.
Yeah, like you can be right, but your relationship's got an 81% chance of ending. So you can learn to start accepting influence and give your relationship a bit of hope, or accept the path that you're on, which is probably going to mean that your relationship ends. High chance, very high chance.
Downhill,
yeah. Hope that was helpful.
Yeah. What was that quote again?
Do you want to be right or do you want to stay together?
Such a good one, my gosh.
You're frothing that one, are you?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I love that one so much.
John. Oh, yeah.
John
Gottman.
My brother's name. That's fucking weird.
John Gottman.
That's my brother's name. Sorry, John.
Sorry if it was weird for you. Anyway, hi, John.
Why are you talking about John?
Anyway, moving on. Shall we do pick
Absolutely moving on. Yeah. Well, weird moment of the week is first. I don't know. You said something.
Sorry. Weird moment of the week.
Yeah.
So my weird moment of the week for you is literally this evening.
Oh, I know.
Getting onion and garlic peel in your hair out of nowhere. I thought it was a spider's web for a second.
Spider's web.
And then I double took it. I was like, what the hell is it? Go look at yourself in the mirror.
Yeah, I pulled it out.
And then you pulled out the garlic peel hair, and then we sat down, and then, oh, what did I see? An onion peel in your hair.
Like a garlic, like clove layer thing, and then an onion peel layer. I don't know how I got there, to be honest.
I've no idea.
You said I'd make a good mess.
Yeah, you do make a good mess in the kitchen.
Yeah, it's all part of fun.
I know. If one person cooks, the other person cleans. Yeah,
and then this evening, you're like, rock, paper, scissors, who cleans up? You had the audacity to try and break the unwritten rule of every relationship.
Is it everyone though?
Yeah, everyone does it. Everyone.
Whatever.
Oh, he's just got no fight left in him now.
No,
boring. Come on, fight with me.
I think I'm good.
Fine. Okay, my weird moment of the week. Hurry up. My weird moment of the week is we went camping this weekend.
Yeah, we did.
And we stayed in a really rural campsite where there were no toilets or shower facilities.
Correct.
Not a problem for you or I in most cases. However, the morning that we were leaving, Lewis was just like really quiet in the car, and I was like, I didn't really think too much of it, but I was like, oh, it's quite quiet. And then we got back to the campsite and we're packing up, and you're like, I just can't concentrate. I just can't even hear what you're saying. I need to poo. And I was like, oh my God, like we're literally just in a field.
Yeah, but
hang on, this is my story.
Sorry.
So he's like, yeah, I need to go. I'm like, oh my God, okay, like take some wet wipes and take a dog poo bag. and go and find a place and just take the wipes and I don't know, do whatever you want me to. So yeah, Lewis went behind a shed thing and took a poo in the wild and
I did.
yeah, came back with a lot more clarity and ability to listen.
You have no idea how relieved I was.
I did. I had every idea because you proceeded to talk about how relieved you were and you poo for about 5 to 10 minutes afterwards, even though I was saying, okay, I don't want to hear you more. Okay,
I
that's
did.
enough. Okay, thank you. Okay.
I did, but it was pretty majestic.
I don't need to know
And
anymore.
I'm gonna leave it at that.
And we're gonna leave it at that. So that was your weird moment of the week. What the
Okay.
fuck?
Don't say what the fuck. I was just evacuating my bowels.
Okay, we said we were leaving it at that.
But then you slated me. Whatever. I'm not gonna argue.
I say this to the dogs. Poo poo outside. So now it applies to you too.
Yeah, I took a poop it outside.
That's one of their poo songs. They have lots of songs for different
Yeah,
activities.
they do.
But now that song applies to you too.
Okay, I'm okay with it. Don't worry.
I can make up a new poo song.
A Banu.
A Banu?
A Banu one.
A new poo song.
Ooh, it's like you almost had Tourette's there. Banu.
Okay.
Anyway, so peak papaya pineapple.
What's your pet?
Plum. My pit of the week was I felt like I was in a mood when we were packing up all of the camping stuff, and it kind of like followed me into the afternoon. I think I had like a bit of a sore head. I just wasn't like happy. I wasn't in a good mood. I was happy, but I wasn't in a good mood, and I don't know why.
Oh.
You know, just one of those. I think
Yeah.
yeah.
What did we do? We went for breakfast. Oh, we went for a walk and then we went for breakfast.
I think I was really dehydrated. I think that's maybe why.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, that was my pit of the week.
My pit was being bored, but also fully acknowledged that like being bored and being paid to be bored at work is a privilege.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, since I've come back from Bali, a lot of my clients we closed with, so I don't have many clients and I'm just waiting to pick up some new ones. I'm kind of in that like quiet stage but I'm also acknowledging that like I need that space, that mental space at the moment because I've just had so much going on. So yeah, as much as it's like my pit, because it's really boring when you don't really have too much purpose at work and you're just kind of waiting for time to pass. Nice. It is also a privilege as well, but yeah, it's definitely my pit. Boring.
My peak of the week was camping. It was a toss-up between date night and camping.
I'm sorry, my date night choice didn't do it for you.
It was so good. It was good.
What did we do?
We went to see a cabaret show.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's called Cabaret, darling.
Oh, I thought it was a circus show.
Cabaret. It was cabaret. The guys were singing and dancing, kicking around.
Oh yeah.
Weren't
they? Bit of everything.
Anyway, camping was my peak of the week. Just waking up, literally open up the zip from the swag, poke my head out into the soft, like cool air. It was silent. It was so tranquil. There's mildew everywhere, and there's just a nice layer of fog
and a couple of deadly spiders.
Oh, it was just magical. It was lovely.
Yeah, it was nice.
Anyway, that was my peak.
Yeah, fair. My peak was essentially just like an overall feeling of being back in routine and what kind of felt like normal life before. Like we'll never be the same now.
No, I'm scarred.
Yeah, but no, I feel like we are expanded. That's a better way to look at it.
I agree.
But yeah, I feel like last week has felt like, okay, I think we're back. Like we're grounded enough to go back to the gym and start training again and kind of fall back in. I think we just had like a little bit of a hermit like week or two when you got back.
I think
we needed.
We needed that. Yeah. I think I'm still in that a little bit in terms of being social, but
yeah. But yes, that was my peak.
Cool.
What's your papaya? Weird, interesting, different
moment. Well, going to that cabaret show, watching a woman, an aerialist, hang by the back of her neck, spinning around like a mad thing. It looked so trippy and so difficult. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was cool. Oh god. Sorry.
Whoa. Where'd that come from? Yoni McYonerson. Anyway, what was your papaya?
So when we went camping, we took the paddleboard with us, and there's like a river. You know what I'm gonna say? There's a river that is like normally like a lake, like just calm. So we blew up the paddleboard and like walked down to the river, and then realized that the wind had like significantly picked up, and there was essentially like waves breaking in the river. But for some reason, we didn't read the signs, and we thought it would still be a good idea to get in, not just me on a paddleboard, but me and Lewis and Bodhi and Finley, the chihuahuas, on one paddleboard.
Yeah.
So we all got on the paddleboard, And I was sitting, the dogs were kind of like on my lap, walking up and down the paddleboard. I had them on their leads. And then Lewis was like kneeling, ready to stand up.
Yeah.
And then we were literally side on to a wave,
Yeah,
and we all just capsized.
I could not control that at all.
Literally the four of us,
Under.
and the river was like brown. It wouldn't have been like a bad river, but it just there must have been some rainfall, so like dirt had gone in, so it wasn't like a super unhygienic one. It was just muddy.
Yeah.
But yeah, we literally all fell in, and I had like my hair was all like nice and clean and curled, and then yeah, at one point when my head popped up, all I could see was Finley's little eyes like petrified, staring at me like. But luckily I had them like on the leads. I wouldn't have let them go. So we just scooped them back up,
and then you
got out.
I got out,
and then without our dignity walked back to the campsite, soaking wet.
I think we were literally in the sea for like 45 seconds in the river, and then we pushed it back and was like, nah,
yeah.
done.
Lucky it's like a really regional area, so no one would have seen. But also, if they did see, then that would have been absolute gold.
Oh my god!
You would have thought, look at these two dickheads, like 100%. Absolute novices.
It was funny.
We should have known.
What's
your pineapples or your gratefuls? 3 gratefuls for the week.
3 gratefuls. So my first full week of hours back at work. It was a pretty chill week at work, which is good. We got some bits done, and it was like a full 5 days, which I haven't had for a very long time, which is
what do you mean? So your pay, is that what you're on about?
Yeah. So like had 5 days worth of work, which is good, and I'm very grateful for it. My second one was just the dogs being in our life. Like they just bring so much joy and happiness, and they're just hilarious for the most part.
Yeah, except for when they're chewing our furniture, shitting on our floor.
Yep.
And trying to get into bed with us at every opportunity.
Yep. And my last one was just my family. I love my family so much, and I miss them.
Yeah, it's been way too long.
So I haven't been home in 2.5 years. So
2.5 years?
I think so, yeah.
No, it's 2 years at Christmas.
Oh, maybe 2 years at Christmas, yeah. Anyway. So yeah, it's been a while since I've seen my sisters, and I miss my sisters. I miss my little niece as well. She's coming up to 2 actually in like in 2 weeks. So which is crazy. But yeah, what about you?
What am I grateful for this week? I'm gonna say I'm grateful for matcha lattes.
Oh, well, of course. This is new. This is Sarah's new obsession. 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 So
my new obsession.
Any matcha brands out there that want to sponsor a podcast? Hit us up.
Yeah. I gave up coffee when I came back from Bali. Like after I had Bali belly, I was just off everything. So I thought I'm gonna use this also. Oh my god.
Oh my god, you picked up my stammer from proxy
to get off coffee because it's addictive, and so I did. And then I thought, oh, but I need something for like my morning walks or catch ups with people, and I've discovered matcha lattes. And yeah, I'm now, it's actually so fun because I'm on a mission to like find the best ones in Gold Coast. Like it's like this whole new experiment, and like now I've ordered this kit to like make them at home myself, so I don't spend so much money on them while I'm out and about because they're just extortionate. I think I paid $8.50 for one today. Yeah.
Sarah.
Well, actually, I had it bought for me, but yeah, it was $8.50.
Fair enough.
Crazy. But yeah, I'm obsessed. And there's this one, I'm just gonna say, they put lavender syrup in it, and it's a hot one. Oh my god, it just does something. It does something to my soul. Like I've got all my friends hooked on it as well now. So now every Wednesday we're like, should we meet at 6 a.m. to get a lavender matcha together? Yeah, okay, let's go.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's cute.
Nice.
I'm also really grateful to be a team with you and like to feel like we're always on a team.
Yeah, we are. Huh?
I'm always like in a team on the same side, shared goal of like both like being happy, both having our needs met, both feeling seen, both improving, both growing. Yeah, it's like I forget how much mental space it takes up when you don't have that. Like I've almost forgot, but I'm just taking a moment to just acknowledge that because it's so fucking important.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks. What's my third and final grateful for the week? Building savings again. Feels nice to like be working towards building them back up to where they were before the whole stuck in Bali incident.
I don't even want to hear about Bali ever again. Really.
But yeah, just to like be building that sense of like stability and security again. It feels nice.
Yeah, it does.
Grateful
for sure
to be able to do
Very
that.
grateful for that.
Yeah.
Plum, darling. So what are you looking forward to this
it's yours. You
coming week? Oh yeah. Finally getting back into training and into a set routine that we made months ago.
Yeah.
So Sarah and I made this routine revolving around the dogs, our training schedules, and putting our relationship and everything else in between into like a solid week plan. And this is the first week that we're actually going to do it.
Yeah.
And we planned this like back
Honestly,
in,
about 4 months ago.
I think when we got Finley.
Yeah, it was. It literally was. And we've had him for 5 months.
Literally. So I think it's been that long.
Yeah,
So
because you were working like
was,
the extra jobs, and
yeah.
we were always saying like, when you finish that, this is what our weeks can look like.
Yeah.
And
now
yeah.
we're finally doing it.
Yeah, thank
like
God.
this is the first week that we're finally going to do
The
it.
whole
So
thing.
that's what I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah.
Sweet.
It's funny how we're both talking about so much stability at the minute. If you notice, there's like an underlying theme in everything that we say, and what we're grateful for, or our plans.
Well,
But understandable, right?
Yeah,
like, it makes complete sense.
Yeah, when our world gets rocked like that, I guess. Yeah.
Makes
a lot of sense.
Yeah, fair.
What about you?
I have a few things.
Okay, hit me with them.
Yeah, like I'm looking for, well, one of my brothers, his album is out this week.
Oh, you're kidding, John's?
Yeah, John's album's out on Sunday, I think it is.
Nice.
I'm excited for that.
Hell yeah.
And obviously you know this, but my best friend Emily and her husband Dave, they're coming to visit us on Friday.
Yeah, they are.
Sunday from Sydney. So I'm really excited to have them here. They're just like awesome. She's my best friend in the world and easy to just get along with and chill, and we'll all just be on the same page. So that's going to be so nice. So yeah, I'm looking forward to like good lunch with my brother, a really nice weekend with my best friend, and also it's actually my nan's funeral today. So obviously I can't be there because it's in the UK. But I'm going to be able to live stream, which is going to be really hard and sad in itself, because I think I said this last week, I'm literally just going to see the sad part and then not get any of like the like social interactions and like happy memory sharing afterwards, which you would normally get at like a wake service. But yeah, I really hope that she has a beautiful send off that she deserves today.
I'm sure she will.
That's my hopes for the week.
Amazing, darling. Shall we wrap this up then?
Let's wrap it up. Put a little bow on the top.
Yep.
And send it out.
Yeah, heck yeah. If you've got any questions, let us know. Please email us. Again, shout out to Randy who did email us.
Yeah.
I think it was a couple of weeks ago now that he did, but
any
questions, please email them through. Our email will be linked in the show notes.
I literally say all this in the outro now.
Oh yeah. Anyway,
here's me saying everything Lewis just said again. Bye.
Peace and love.
Hey guys, thanks so much for being here. We appreciate you so bloody much. You are the best.
If you enjoyed this episode, please follow us on Apple or Spotify, whatever you prefer. And don't forget to check out the Instagram page at TDHR Podcast.
Information on how you can write your questions into us will also be in the show notes. Till next time. Mwah.